Now, what is immune system? The immune system is the crucial defense mechanism for both animals and plants, protecting them from a constant barrage of threats, primarily microbial pathogens. While the specific components and strategies differ, the fundamental goal remains the same: to identify and neutralize harmful invaders, ensuring the organism's survival and continued function. So basically, the immune system is the one who is responsible of fighting off foreign invaders in animals and plant bodies. For example, viruses, pathogens, and other microorganisms that are not welcome in an organism's body.
So we have here a model of the plant's immune system and its parts, where it shows the two main tiers, which is the pattern-triggered immunity or PTI and effector-triggered immunity or ETI. So we have here the first detector that provides a warning ahead. This is called the PAMPS or pathogen-associated molecular patterns. These are molecules found on the surface of many pathogens. They are conserved structures essential for the pathogen's survival or function, meaning they don't change much across different strains or species of pathogens. Think of them as red flags that alert the plant to the presence of an invader. The plant's immune system recognizes these PAMPs through specialized receptors called pattern recognition receptors or PRRS, which is placed underneath the PAMPs. This recognition triggers a rapid general defense response known as PAMP triggered immunity (PTI). This response includes changes in gene expression, production of antimicrobial compounds, and strengthening of the cell wall, all aimed at preventing pathogen invasion. So as discussed before, PTI is known for its providing first-line defense or rapid response. Next is the effectors. Effectors are proteins produced by pathogens, bacteria, fungi, viruses, etc., and delivered into the host plant cell. They actually do this by injecting effector proteins. Their primary function is to suppress the plant's immune system, allowing the pathogen to successfully invade and colonize the plant. So, effectors achieve this suppression through various mechanisms, such as interfering with PMP-triggered immunity, or called as PTI. Effectors can directly target or inhibit the components of the PTI pathway, preventing the plant from mounting an effective defense response to PAMP recognition. This might involve blocking the signaling pathways triggered by PAMPs or degrading the PRRS themselves. And next is targeting plant proteins. Effectors can directly interact with and inhibit plant proteins involved in defense, such as those responsible for producing antimicrobial compounds or strengthening cell walls. Next is modifying plant hormone signaling. Effectors can manipulate plant hormone pathways, often to the pathogen's benefit. For example, they might promote the production of hormones that suppress plant defense or promote the pathogen's growth. Next is mimicking plant proteins. Some effectors mimic the function of the plant proteins, interfering with normal cellular processes and hindering the plant's ability to respond to infections. So here comes the R protein, which is also part of the NLR, which means nucleotide binding leucine-rich repeat proteins. These are a major class of plant intracellular immune receptors. They are a key component of the plant's innate immune system, specifically involved in effector-triggered immunity, which is called ETI. So, NLRs are essentially components of plant immunity, acting as highly specific sensors for pathogens effectors. Their activation triggers robust defense responses that are critical for plant survival in the face of pathogen attack. The diversity of NLRs ensures the plants can defend against a wide range of pathogens. We're also going to talk about the decoy. Now, decoy, they act as a bait to divert the pathogen's attack, protecting the plant's essential cellular components. These decoys are often encoded by specific plant genes and are crucial for effector-triggered immunity. Now, we are going to talk about the ETI. As discussed before, ETI or effector-triggered immunity is a highly specific and robust plant immune response triggered by the recognition of pathogen effectors. Unlike PAMP-triggered immunity, or called as PTI, which is a more general response to conserved pathogen-associated molecular patterns, PAMPs. ETI is tailored to specific pathogen strains and involves a more intense defense reaction. So, in summary, ETI is a powerful, highly specific immune response that provides plants with strong and durable resistance against specific pathogens. It represents a sophisticated level of plant defense, reflecting the ongoing evolutionary arms race between plants and their pathogens. And that's all.
Now, let me introduce to you to animal immunity. Animal immune system, while diverse across species, share fundamental principles. They are complex networks of cells, tissues, and organs that work together to defend against pathogens and other harmful substances. The complexity and specific components vary significantly depending on the animal's evolutionary history and lifestyle. However, most animal immune systems can be broadly categorized into two branches, the innate immunity and adaptive immunity. Now, let's talk about innate immunity, the first line of defense. Innate immunity is the body's first line of defense against pathogens. It is a non-specific system, meaning it responds to a wide range of invaders without targeting specific threats. This branch of the immune system is present from birth and provides immediate protection. The second one is adaptive immunity. Adaptive immunity, targeted and specific protection. Adaptive immunity is a more specialized and sophisticated defense system that develops over time. It is characterized by its ability to recognize and target specific pathogens. This branch of the immune system is responsible for long-term immunity and is crucial for fighting off recurring infections. Innate immunity in dogs is the body's first line of defense against harmful pathogens like bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Unlike adaptive immunity, which requires exposure to specific pathogens to develop immunity over time, innate immunity is present from birth and provides immediate non-specific protection. The immune response is the body's defense mechanism against harmful invaders such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites. It involves a complex network of cells, proteins, and organs working together to identify, neutralize, and eliminate these threats. The immune response can be divided into two main types, the innate immunity and adaptive immunity. Now, let's talk about the B cells. B cells make antibodies that target specific pathogens, while the T cells kill pathogens and attacks infected cells. Some T and B cells become memory cells that quickly fight future infections by the same pathogen. The innate immune cells engulf and kill pathogens and release molecules to enhance the immune response. So here is the example of the immune response. So as you can see in the picture, the immune response is finely balanced. An overactive response can lead to autoimmune diseases, where the immune system mistakenly attacks healthy tissues. Conversely, an underactive response can result in infections or cancers going unchecked.
The comparison between plants and animal immunity. Let's first discuss the similarities between the plant and animal immunity. Number one, we have the pathogen recognition or the recognition of pathogens. So first, I would like to explain that both plants and animals used advanced mechanisms to recognize pathogens, and this involves pattern recognition receptors, which are the PRRs, that detect the pathogen-associated molecular patterns, which recognize as PAMPs, on invading microbes. For example, PAMPs like flagellin are identified in both plants and animals, and they could trigger an immune response. Number two, we also have the signaling pathways, and I would like first to briefly explain that once a pathogen is recognized, both systems utilize signaling pathways to propagate the immune response. A key example for that is actually the mitogen-activated protein. First, I would like to briefly explain that once a pathogen is recognized, both systems utilize signaling pathways to propagate the immune response. A key example for that actually is the mitogen-activated protein kinase, so known as MAPK pathway, which plays a crucial role in transmitting signals and activating defense-related genes in both plants and animals. And the third one, or I might have skipped, so let's just put it on the third one. It is the defense mechanisms. I would like to clarify that both plants and animals deploy defense mechanisms to combat invaders. This could include the physical barriers, like for example we have cell walls in plants and skin in animals, as well as the other production of antimicrobial compounds and the proteins that inhibit the pathogen growth. Now let's talk about the differences between plant and animal immunity. Number one that they have the difference are their adaptive immunity. It is a significant difference in the presence of their adaptive immunity in animals, and this includes the development of memory cells, and it kind of enable the immune system to respond more effectively to repeated infections. While plants, on the other hand, they kind of lack adaptive immunity and they do not really have memory cells. Number two, we have the systematic acquired resistance, or SAR. While plants lack adaptive immunity, they actually exhibit a unique phenomenon called systematic acquired resistance, or SAR. Now, SAR functions as a form of stress memory, enabling plants to mount enhanced defenses against subsequent attacks. Let's start with the similarities. Both plants and animals have developed ways to fight off microbes like bacteria, and viruses. Even though they're different creatures, their immune system seems to have evolved separately but in response to the same kinds of challenges. Now scientists call this as convergent evolution, which is when different organisms come up with similar solutions to solve the same problem. Here's how they're alike. I would like to really explain this so everyone could actually get it. So both plants and animals recognize germs using special sensors. Plants use pattern recognition receptors like PRRs to detect pathogen-associated molecular patterns or PMPs, which I have said earlier, and animals do this too. And it's like, having an alarm system that tells them when something bad is around. It's kind of like that. And once they recognize the danger, they use signaling pathways like the MAPK pathway. This sends a message throughout the body or the plant to activate defense. Finally, both plants and animals have defenses, like barriers to stop pathogens from getting inside and chemicals to. Once they recognize a danger, they use signaling pathways like the MAPK pathway. This sends a message throughout the body or plant to activate defenses. Now, finally, both plants and animals have defenses like barriers to stop pathogens from getting inside and chemicals to kill them if they do. Now, let's look at what makes them different. Animals have something called an adaptive immune system. And I have explained this earlier too. And actually, this is super cool because it includes memory cells. Imagine getting sick once and your body remembering that germ forever, so it can fight it better the next time. But plants don't have this. Instead, plants rely on systematic acquired resistance, which is the SAR. This is like a stress memory that makes the whole plant stronger after it's been attacked. Animals don't have SAR because their memory works differently through their adaptive immunity. Now, these differences make sense when you think about the pressure plants and animals face in their environments, right? Like, plants can't move around like animals. So what they do is they develop a localized, simpler immune system to protect themselves right where they're planted. Animals, on the other hand, can move and have complex immune system to protect in their different environments. In conclusions, plants and animals may seem very different, but their immune systems share some amazing similarities in how they recognize, signal, and fight off pathogens. This similarity shows us how life has evolved to solve the same problem in creative ways. The differences, like plants' SAR and animals' adaptive immunity, reflect the unique challenges they face in their environments. And studying these systems really teaches us so much about the incredible defense strategies of all living things.